Hi everyone, I'm Sam Robinson, Head of Maths at Reach Free School. To get started, a question that we sometimes hear in lessons, you may well have heard your children say themselves, or may have even posed this question when you were in school, which is, when will I ever use Pythagoras again? And I'll come back to that at the end of the presentation. So to get us started, this is a bit of an overview of what the GCSE Maths course looks like at the Reach Free School. So pupils start the course midway through year 9. To begin with, through the second half of year 9 and the first half of year 10, all pupils will be looking at the same content, and we call this the crossover content. Now, 60% of the content on the higher and the foundation papers is the same, and this is what we refer to as the crossover content. The reasoning behind this is to keep the curriculum as broad as possible for as long as possible, in the sense that pupils get as much time as possible to evidence the correct tier of entry for them, whether that end up being higher or foundation. Now, certain sets may go at slightly different paces, and certain sets may look at certain topics at different levels of depth and challenge. However, all pupils will be accessing and seeing the same content throughout this crossover period. Towards the second half of year 10, we begin to make decisions about whether pupils will be entered for higher or foundation. At this point, their kind of path deviates a little bit. Pupils who will go on to study and be entered at higher will look at some new topics on top of what they've seen within the crossover material, whereas the pupils who are going to be entered at foundation will spend more time within lessons reinforcing their understanding, their knowledge of the content they've already seen within this crossover material. Now, as we move into year 11, and particularly we head towards the kind of the mock exam period in December time, and then from January onwards, all sets will be revising, recovering content, working on their exam technique in preparation of their GCSE exams in year 11. So talk a little bit here about kind of assessment criteria and how pupils can be regulating their own learning and their understanding. All pupils have this document shared with them via Google Classroom by their maths teacher. We call it a PLC, a personalised learning checklist. Down the left-hand side here, we can see some of the topics listed out. This PLC document goes a lot further down. I've just cropped it to this point. And this is a mock-up of what a pupil's results may look like when they're entered within this. So you can see the score that the pupil has got on the test that they do at the end of each topic, the percentage of that it's equal to. It's ragged, so red, amber, green, to show kind of their current level of understanding. There's a tick box to say when they've then revised that topic or not. And you can see that this mock-up of a pupil's data, they've gone ahead and revised the stuff that's orange and red and left the stuff that's green for the time being. That's probably something that they're quite secure in at the time being and can come back to later on. The final two columns where it says Hegarty Maths and JM clip number, they're referring to websites, Hegarty Maths website and the Just Maths website, where if a pupil has struggled on a particular topic and needs some additional support, the task numbers or the clip numbers associated with it are the places that people needs to go. And there's video explanations and more examples. There's a quiz that they can do afterwards as well to test their understanding. So for pupils to be able to see their own current level of understanding, the topics, areas of weakness and strength, and then have a place where they can go to get help and do some more practice, is going to be really powerful for them if they utilize it correctly, obviously in conjunction with their normal maths lessons and the work that their teachers will be doing with them every day in school. So a few examples of what you could be doing at home if your child is struggling on a topic. They say that they want to do some extra maths work. The first image that's come up here is a screen grab from the Just Maths website. So these are the first 21 or so topics that we look at, and it goes on further than that to about sort of 52 topics in total. Within each of those folders, when you go onto the website, there's lots of resources, there's a video to watch, there's exam questions to practice. So it nicely contains lots of really useful resources in one place, and it matches up with our scheme of learning as well. That's a screenshot from the Hegarty Maths website, which pupils will be familiar with. Every pupil has an account. There are sort of over 800 different lessons and skills and quizzes on there for pupils to do. The explanations are really clear. And if pupils are struggling with one particular skill, one particular aspect of a topic, to be able to go on, kind of do an online lesson, do a quiz to check their understanding is going to be really useful and really powerful for them in improving their understanding. And then finally, that screenshot there is taken from a website called Maths Genie, where once pupils are kind of secure in their understanding and are ready to apply it to exam questions, they've got lots of different topics and past paper exam questions organized with solutions worked out as well. So a really good place for pupils to go towards the latter stages of the GCSE course at the time when they're ready to start doing some real exam prep. Talk a little bit more about kind of what to expect in lessons and what you need to be aware of, and kind of what maths looks like every day in the Reach Free School. This is a image taken from a Google Classroom. So pupils are obviously all enrolled in a Google Classroom that relates to their maths class. All of the lessons for each particular topic are uploaded to Classroom. So if people misses a lesson, wants to go back and see something again, didn't quite get something the first time around, it's all there organised along with some quizzes, some exam questions, and often other resources as well. So this, in conjunction with the PLC I already talked about and the websites that are available, is another really good way for pupils to kind of stay on top of things and stay organised. This is a image of what a typical starter looks like within a maths lesson. So the aim of this is to prompt pupils on their prior learning. These are often retrieval based and will feed into what it is we're going to be looking at on a given day. So the lesson that pupils are about to begin is on finding percentage and amount without using a calculator. And in order to do that, they need to have the prerequisite knowledge surrounding decimals, percentages, fractions. So that's why they're being prompted to check their understanding on that. Typically, when we introduce a new concept or new content to pupils, we'll use an approach where my turn is the class teacher showing them how to do it, questioning, getting feedback and input from the pupils and addressing any misconceptions. And then the your turn section is where pupils are then encouraged to give it a go for themselves, and the teacher is able to obviously support. Before that new learning or that new topic is then maybe embedded in a slightly more challenging way for application questions. And that kind of leads me on to often towards the end of a lesson, the new learning will be taken and used in a new way to challenge the pupils to really test their understanding. So just to finish off, going back to the first question I posed, when will I ever use Pythagoras again? Well, if you grow up to work in agriculture or construction, civil engineering, to become a surveyor, then you may well use Pythagoras again. However, you may not. And there are other parts of maths as well that pupils maybe kind of find difficult to relate to, or difficult to be excited about all of the time, because they can't quite see when they're ever going to use it again. So what we try to impress upon them, and what it would be great if you could try to impress upon them as well, is we're not teaching you just Pythagoras. We're teaching you to think logically and to develop numerical fluency and to be able to solve problems in logical ways. All of those transferable skills that they certainly will use again in later life. And that's kind of the message we try to get across sometimes, because it's not always inherently obvious when you would ever use this again. So it's not necessarily about the content as such, it's about the skills that you're developing along the way as well. Okay, thanks for listening. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to know, please do get in contact.